All right, guys, crazy couple days in crypto, huh? A lot of dumpage, a lot of negative SEC news. Of course, SEC is suing Binance and Coinbase. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We've already done some videos on that. There is a little bit of new information. I want to talk about what I'm doing in the markets right now, what I'm doing as far as using various exchanges. Am I keeping everything on a hardware wallet now? What should we be doing right now to protect our assets, protect our crypto? As far as the market, Bitcoin coming in at 26,000, well, about 26,600. So we're up a little bit. A lot of these altcoins took a major dip. Cardano, essentially every coin listed under that SEC lawsuit. And of course, SEC isn't suing these projects. They just kind of listed 60 coins that they consider to be securities. Now, I want to let you guys know they consider every coin to be a security. So just because your coin isn't on that list, they're not going to list 1,000 coins. They don't have the time. They're going to go one by one. So every coin that is not Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum, I would actually consider. I think Ethereum would probably be a security too under SEC's mind. But I think something like Litecoin, which is why I've been talking about Litecoin for the last couple months, telling you guys. Halvening coming up, and the SEC can't label it a security, so a lot of people are going to take their money out of other projects and put into Litecoin. As you guys know with this dump didn't even affect Litecoin. Litecoin is still hanging out at $88, $89. So I mean, you're talking a few percentage points, if that, for a Litecoin dump. Okay, but other coins mentioned like Cardano. Cardano went from 35 cents down to 32 cents. We're almost back up to 33 cents right now. Not too bad. But yeah, a lot of altcoins did take a hit. We're coming back a little bit today. Okay. Now, of course, Gary Gensler did an interview on CNBC yesterday, and he kind of let out exactly what he's looking to do. And he essentially said that, look, we don't need more digital currencies. So what he's going to try to do is cripple the digital currency, cryptocurrency market in the United States. Good news is, just because Gary Gensler says it's true doesn't mean it is. We're looking at years and years of litigation before this even gets close to being settled. And of course, Coinbase and Binance both have a lot of money, so they're going to fight this to the death. But here's Gary Gensler right here.
Just protect investors.
Look, we as an agency are meant to be merit neutral, Jim. There's a lot of questions. There's 10 to 20,000 tokens. Actually, in the Coinbase complaint, we note that they have, through the Coinbase wallet, you can trade 16,000 different tokens. And there's a lot of debate as to the use cases and whether there's any there.
And why is Gary Gensler attempting to freeze assets on Binance US?
Mr. Chairman, a lot of it is hard to understand. For instance, in the Binance complaint, you say, Mr. Chairman, I need to know this. The SEC's Binance complaint also seeks emergency relief, like an asset freeze, expedited discovery, and even the appointment of a receiver. Are there more pleadings coming? Because if you do this, that's the end of Binance.
Look, we have to...
Yeah, so Gary Gensler is trying to completely take out Binance right now. And now it just came out that Gary Gensler in 2019 wanted to work for Binance as an advisor. And apparently they didn't hire him. So there's a lot of sour grapes here as well. He wants to take out Binance because he couldn't work for Binance. So these guys are all like so gross. They're all like commingled. And this actually just came out yesterday. So I'm kind of curious to hear Gary Gensler's response, but he was actually meeting with the people at Binance to work for them. So that's weird. That sounds like a conflict of interest to me.
Sir, and so
The SEC trying to freeze Binance US's assets feels like they're almost trying to orchestrate a run on reserves. Steady, lads, deploying more investor protection. And to be clear, if Binance truly has reserves backed one-to-one, then a bank run shouldn't be a problem. Just speculating that I think there's a pretty good likelihood this is the SEC trying to find out if that's the case. But then what about Coinbase?
Going back to Binance.us, I made a video a couple of days ago. I said it's probably a good idea just to get all your money off Binance.us because you don't want to be in a situation where Binance US has to leave the United States, and then they say, look, you got 5 days to get your stuff off Binance. Then you got to figure out where you want to send your Cardano, your Theta, which Theta you have to use a private wallet. You don't want to be in a situation where the SEC comes in and just shuts down Binance.us, and then it takes a year to get your money back. So I do not have any money on Binance.us right now. I did have a few things on there, like some Doge and stuff like that, but I've taken everything off. And really now's the time not to be using any exchange. I do use Coinbase for some things right now, but really if you're big into Cardano, Theta, all the coins we talk about here, just get it off all the exchanges. With Theta, you can just use the Theta wallet. Cardano, you can use the Dedulus wallet. I actually have my Cardano on the my hardware wallet, my Ledger, but there's so many places to move it right now. So I would say just get off all of exchanges, including Coinbase, because we're in a situation where Coinbase may have to temporarily delist a coin like Cardano while they go through the courts. And if they have to delist Cardano, then they're going to give you like 5 days to get your Cardano off. Or they're probably going to sell it for you, and then you're going to have to just, cash out or something like that. So it's not even worth being in this situation with these exchanges. Just get off, hold your own, hold your assets on a private wallet.
Compliant. Why did the SEC let Coinbase go public if they were not up to the SEC rules?
Even going back to 2021 when we became a public company, before becoming a public company, you have to disclose everything about your business in depth. There was many back and forth revisions of our S1. And frankly, they had all the knowledge then, and they allowed us to become a public company.
And just like that, the SEC...
So that's weird. Of course, Coinbase being a public company, they actually filed all the proper SEC documents, and the SEC said, yeah, you can be a public company, and now they're coming back and suing them. I'm not going to play this whole interview, but, Brian Armstrong has said they've met with the SEC over 30 times. The SEC has basically given them no guidance whatsoever. They won't let them even register to sell securities if they even wanted to sell securities. So the SEC is basically just trying to kill crypto in the United States. They don't want to work with any of these companies. They just want to sue them, and hopefully by suing them, they will drive them out of the country, which it does look like is going to happen with something like Binance. I think Binance.us will eventually be forced to leave the country, because I do think that, and I want to get into this, I do think that CZ Binance, which I'll pull it up. So here's the article. I don't think Binance.us can survive this. Some people who previously worked for Binance.us basically said they were shady. So I think Binance.us is going to get pushed out of the United States. I think Binance.us is just going to basically decide. They're not going to fight it. They're just going to say, it's not even worth fighting this anymore. They got so much dirt on us right now. We're just going to leave. And that's another reason I say, if you have to pick one exchange right now in the United States, pick Coinbase, because while they are going through lawsuits with the SEC, it's over like little stuff like, selling unregistered securities or blah, 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 but it's nothing criminal. It's all civil. But I think some of this Binance stuff could turn criminal. So ex-Binance.us CEO says CZ was CEO of BAM Trading. Brian Brooks resigned as CEO of Binance.us after just a few months back in 2021. It's always a red flag when you have a CEO come in and then like 2 months later they're gone. Like they see stuff they don't want to be involved with. You actually saw this with FTX.us as well. Like you saw a lot of CEOs coming and going. They're like, whoa, this isn't going to work out. If the shit hits the fan here, I'm going to jail. So they leave. So it does look like Binance.us, while not operating illegally and not stealing investors' money, it was just funneling money back to Binance. So essentially, Binance and Binance.us were supposed to be two separate entities, and they weren't. It was basically just the same thing, which was the problem. So Brian Brooks, the former CEO of Binance US, was cited in a transcript linked to exhibit documents in the SEC's case against Binance, BAM Trading, BAM Management, and BAM and Binance CEO CZ. When discussing his role as head of Binance US, Brooks said, "I did not work for Binance.com, that nobody at Binance.com was my boss, and that my role was to complete and highlight the corporate separatists. So when I talked to CZ, I considered myself to be talking to him in his role as board of chair of BAM Trading. What became clear to me at a certain point was that CZ was a CEO of BAM Trading and not me. That wasn't because Binance.com somehow controlled us. But again, he owns the vast majority of binance.com. So essentially what Binance was doing was they wanted to make it look separate. So they'd hire a CEO, but it was all fake. It's almost like the Queen of England. Like they have no power. They just exist. And that's kind of what this guy's saying. And you also had another CEO, I think Cooley was her name or something like that. And she wasn't there very long either. So it does look like the SEC does have dirt from the former CEOs of Binance.us. And I do think Binance.us is done. Get your money off it. I think they are solvent. I mean, if I had to bet, I would think they were. But, I was even thinking, with everything going on with Cardano right now and Litecoin, I do expect to double by August. I was like, well, maybe I'm going to send some money back to, like half my Cardano I had on Coinbase back to Binance.us and turn it into Litecoin just for like a month. But I was thinking I'm not even comfortable doing that. And I was going to do that because the trading fees on Coinbase are outrageous. Like I was looking to sell like a small percentage of my my Cardano trading bag, and they went at like $100 in fees. Where on Binance it'd be like $5. So I might have to use KuCoin instead if I want to do that. But now I'm just like, I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm just going to, if I want to buy more Litecoin, I'll just buy it with cash. So anyway, a lot of craziness going on right now. The point is, get off the exchanges. I think this is just short-term noise. You're already seeing the markets really kind of coming back. Bitcoin at 26,608. A lot of these altcoins that took a huge hit are coming back a little bit. I want to see Cardano get back up to 35 cents is what I want to do. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Cardano goes back to those lows of 24 cents, where we were when Bitcoin was back down to 15,000, because there's just a lot of FUD right now going on in the market. But with all the FUD going on, we have good news. I mean, Cardano announces launch of Project Catalyst. So, Cardano, I just read this, that staking is up, transactions are up. Cardano, one of the world's leading blockchain platforms, has announced the imminent relaunch of its most ambitious community-focused project yet, Project Catalyst. This initiative, representing the latest of Cardano's innovations, is backed by a staggering 50 million ADA, making it the largest funding pool in Cardano. So Cardano is just rocking and rolling, and this stuff is just going to blow over, in my opinion. Cardano, the Cardano people have also responded to these allegations. Cardano says no to ADA security claim. The firm states that the SEC filing contains numerous factual inaccuracies and will not impact its operation in any way. Under no circumstances is Cardano a security under U.S. securities law. Don't forget, folks, Cardano had an ICO, but I think it was in Japan or China or something like that. So they didn't even have an ICO in the United States. Not to mention Cardano is completely decentralized at this point. There's no way Cardano is a security. And if the SEC wants to sue Cardano, there's really not even anybody to sue. I guess they'd have to sue like Charles Hoskinson. So they're not going to sue Cardano is my point. Cardano was just named with every other cryptocurrency, but I think when it comes down to it and the SEC wants to go after projects and call them securities, I don't think they're going to go after Cardano. I could be wrong. It noted that in order to create a responsible registration, regulators need to understand how decentralized blockchains operate. Like the two targeted crypto exchanges, IOG said it was willing to work with regulators to help develop a regulatory framework. However, it said that stiffing innovation only does more harm than good. I agree with that completely. And you also have to understand, folks, it's a big world out there. I know a lot of people are just focused on the United States. Even if Cardano and all your favorite altcoins get labeled as security, they're still going to prevail in other countries. And I'm not really worried about it, is really what it comes down to. But short-term pain is definitely possible, which we're seeing right now. Market sentiment right now is low. We're pretty much back down to where we were during the FTX collapse. And like I said, even myself, I'm thinking, well, should I have a little bit less Cardano right now and have it more in Litecoin? Yeah, that's a possibility. Maybe that would be a good move, because like I said, I do think Litecoin's going to do well. But once you start trading out of coins and trading back into coins, it just gets to be stressful. And then, yeah, I could think that Litecoin's going to have some big pump. But what if we get some weird news that comes out in a couple of days where Gary Gensler says, oh, wait, I didn't think these aren't securities. Or if XRP wins this lawsuit, every altcoin is going to double. So it's a lot of times just not worth trading out of projects. Like I said, majority of my Cardano right now is on a hardware wallet. and I've pretty much gotten everything off Coinbase. So if I did want to do a little trade like that, I'd have to send some of my Cardano from my hardware wallet to an exchange, and that's always risky. And then you're like stressed out, like, oh, is it even going to make it to the exchange? It's just like, I'm not doing any of that right now, but it has been in the back of my mind, like, okay, well, maybe I could do that. And I just want to finish off with this article. First mover America, Bitcoin shows resilience amid SEC lawsuits. In a nutshell, I just think people don't care anymore. You know, I think people don't care about the SEC. They're used to it. I think most people assumed. If you were to ask me a month ago, do you think the SEC thinks Cardano is a security and all these other coins? I would say 100% they do. They think everything's a security. And I think a lot of that was already priced in. Now, what would be negative for a coin like Cardano is if the SEC actually specifically targeted Cardano like they targeted XRP. If that happened, Cardano's finished with a price. I mean, you're probably going to be looking at like a 5-cent Cardano. But I don't think they're going to do that. Not to mention, there's really nobody for the SEC even to sue. So right now, your favorite altcoin is completely in the balance of what happens with this XRP lawsuit. So I kind of say, fuck you, XRP, because you really have been a pain in my ass. Like, everybody who held XRP made no money, and now the whole altcoin market rests in Ripple's hands, which kind of does suck. So if XRP loses this lawsuit, let's just be real, XRP loses a lawsuit, a lot of these altcoins are going to drop 50%. Now, I do think they're going to come back, but it's not going to be good for price action. So we're kind of in a weird time. We're in a stressful time. We're in a time where a lot of things are up in the air, but long term, still bullish. I still think $5, $10, $15 Cardano by the end of 2024. Litecoin, I still think is going to double by August. Call me crazy. And I think Bitcoin's going to be $40,000 by the end of the year, no doubt, as we go into that halving. And you also have to remember, Gary Gensler is not going to be around in a couple years. I actually think Gary Gensler is probably going to get removed from his position. I think it's going to come out that he's a fraudster, to be honest with you. But any other administration that comes in, well, I shouldn't say that, but any Republican administration that comes in is going to get rid of Gary Gensler right off the bat. And even while Republicans aren't like huge on crypto because they don't understand it, they're huge on business. So they're not going to stifle crypto in the United States, which is why I've always said, how can you be a liberal Democrat and be in crypto? It's almost like being a Jew in World War II and voting for Hitler. It like doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you want to make money, you're not going to vote for a Democrat. They don't care about you making money. So every Democrat is essentially, you know, against crypto, except for RFK Jr. And like 12 states came out right after the SEC lawsuit, and they were, you know, picking on these exchanges, saying, oh, you have to show cause, and you're not supposed to be doing this staking. 99% of those states were Democrat states. So the Democrats, folks, have declared war on cryptocurrency, not the Republicans. And I do think this is short-term noise, and I do think there's a good possibility that going into the weekend, Bitcoin's right back up to $28,000. So we'll see what happens. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.